Lord God, Jehovah Elohim, the God of our salvation. Father, we thank you for another day and we thank you for this moment. This has been a very, very tremendous period in the history of our struggle, the struggle of your people. Lord, you've handed to us a very heavy load. But as you have written in the good books, you do not give to any individual a load that is too heavy for them to carry. Lord, we thank you for the difficulties you've handed to us. We thank you for the tough times. We thank you for the hardship and the persecution, because it is only through these that we are able to realize that by ourselves we are nothing, and that every success that we achieve and everything that we do successfully comes from thee, O Lord. Because if we do not go through these difficulties, if we do not face these hard times, if we do not see the evilness of man's inhumanity to man, we will not seek thy face, O Jehovah. We will not believe in you. We trust you. We have our hope in you. And we know that as sinful as we are, you will continuously bless us. For that is the type of God you are. But you are equally the God that takes sides with the oppressed. The God that stands with the little man. The God that will always be there when he is called in times of trouble. Lord, we know you are here because we are here, because you created us out of your own image. We are not waiting for the heavens to open for you to come down to liberate us, because we know through us you are in us, and that liberation will come through. Lord, we will do just your will, even at the detriment of losing our own lives. This is all we can offer to you for what you've given to us. We thank you through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord, who, O Yahweh Sabaoth, lives and reigns with you in unity with the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. First of all, I came here to make an announcement. I was supposed to be on 702. 702 is the most listened, the most popular radio network in the whole of Southern Africa. Unfortunately, I got the time wrong. So for each one of you who is watching me at this moment, in a couple of hours, at 9 p.m. Johannesburg time, I repeat, 9 p.m. today, I will be having a lively conversation about Ambazonia and Mother Africa over 702, South Africa's, Southern Africa and Africa's leading radio network. And that interview is going to beam live on SCBC, the People's Television. So for those of you who do not have satellite TV and who cannot follow me live on the internet, please get ready to glue on your SCBC set to watch me live. I don't know whether it will be for an hour or 2 hours, but there is one thing I want you to know. It will be a spirited conversation from the burnings of our heart, live from the studios of 702 in Johannesburg. And for that reason, let me inform you that the reason I was not in Washington, D.C. physically was because I had a pre-arranged program that has to do with liberating our homeland. And in times like these, good leaders should be able to be multitask. But the good news is that before I left Washington, D.C., I had worked it out with my brothers, with my comrades, with my fellow nationalists. I want to thank Comrade John Ba Akuru who heeded my call and came over to visit me and had a barbecue with me. And it was over that barbecue that we discussed, and I took the decision to invite all the leaders for a private consultation at the home of our friend, our uncle and brother, Elvis Cometa. I want to thank you, Mola Sako. I want to thank you, Ntum Fombo Herbert. I want to thank you, Comrade Edwin Ga. I want to thank you, Comrade Elvis Cometa. I want to thank you, Comrade John Ba Akuru, because at a very short notice, you heeded my call, the call of wisdom, the call to come together, and you all assembled at the residence of Elvis Cometa without knowing the agenda, and that was where I laid down the agenda to you people. The reason I had called that meeting was because I was very concerned and worried that at a time like this, when our struggle needs us to forge ahead, as a people with one conviction, we were in despairing ranks. It was not possible for us to have a conference in Canada and another conference in Washington, D.C. Financially, it was not wise. Morally, it will be crippling to our people. If our people want us to come together, I prayed and I thought it wise that one conference, just one, will be enough for all of us. So I thank you, my dear brothers, who heeded that call. At short notice came to Cometa's house, where we were able to chart the pathway for that very heated but constructive discussion that took place last Friday. From the bottom of my heart, I thank each one of you. I thank you, Comrade Cho Lucas Ayaba, that even after the meeting at Cometa's house, I was able to call you in Norway. Though I didn't get you, you got back to me in the morning so that I can debrief you of why I had invited the leaders to come together. And I want to thank you, Comrade Bo Herbert, and all the other comrades who were able to reach out to our sisters, our moms, our aunts, to inform them of what was taking place. At the end of the day, it was not just my physical presence that was important. It was what was being done behind the scene. None of you knew the part I played in this, because this is not a popularity contest. This is an issue of survival of a people. We will live together, or we all will die together. There is no way any one of us is going to run out of this. Just no way. In South Africa, many blacks thought they could turn their backs away from the anti-apartheid struggle. They failed. In South Sudan, many South Sudanese thought they could cooperate with Khartoum. They failed. In Eritrea, there were many Eritreans who did not want to see Asmara and look at Addis Ababa as the golden book. They failed. And to each one of you Southern Cameroonians, I do not care where you belong. I do not care whether you have different aspirations. But there is one thing we want you to know. We are not looking for an Ambazonia because we hate the people of La République du Cameroon. We are looking for a homeland of ours because that is what God gave to us. It is our duty to take it, hold it, own it, nourish it, feed it, and let it grow. As a people, it will not be an easy task. I've told you time and time again that anyone who tells you that this will be a struggle that will run down the road, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, that person is having a nightmare. This is going to be a difficult struggle. But difficulties is the other word that is used to describe the people of the former British Southern Cameroons. We are people that have gone through all types of difficulties. We are the new breed of the fruit they call cashew. Difficult to crack, nice to eat, bitter in the mouth, but with a pinch of palm wine or cold water, it becomes very sweet. That is exactly who we are, the people of Ambazonia, the children of Africa, the chosen ones who must lead Africa in concluding the last chapter of neocolonialism in this beautiful land. Yes, you didn't see me in Washington, D.C., but I was there with each one of you. And I applaud each one of you who came out to participate in that million march. You know very well that I am not a fan of demonstrations, because I have seen this time and time again that these things do not work. However, it is important for us to continuously do this, so that tomorrow the world will not say that we did not exploit every options. Yes, but what is most important, it is what is taking place in ground zero. Now, my people, we must opt the game. We must bend our sleeves. We must be prepared to live or to die. There is no middle way in this. There is no democracy in times of war. There is no negotiation until the other side realizes that we are human enough as they are and accept to sit on a negotiating table. We will not drop our arms. We will instead increase our armory. This is the time for us to look after ourselves, look after our homeland, and by doing that, we actually will be saving the people of La République du Cameroon. We'll be giving them an option to know that it is their right to fight for what is better. It is their right to stand for what is good. That in this world of ours, a world that none of us can explain how we find ourselves in it, a world that we cannot explain the mystery of it apart from what the Bible writes, a world which is mystery itself, there is one thing we must understand. We did not put ourselves into this world. We did not create mankind. No man has the right to take another man's life, but no man has the right to stay aside and let another man take another man's life. That is not just cowardice. It is evil in its very self. We must stand as a people, remain committed, be strong as we have never been before. Let us not see our differences as a means to disperse us. Let us see our differences as what brings us together. Because the very God that created us differently. No two people in this world, a world with more than 7 billion people, have the same 10 fingers. Is that not mystery enough? Is that not mystery enough to show how different we are? But how our differences is supposed to color the uniqueness of humanity. I was not in Washington, D.C. because I was serving you somewhere else. Today, I will be live at 9 p.m. at 7:02 South African time. And on Thursday, there is going to be a historic interview over SCBC. We are going to talk about everything that deals with Ambazonia and everything that deals with Mother Africa this Thursday. Because this struggle of ours is not just ours, it's a struggle for Africa. It's a struggle to end the last vestige of colonialism in this continent. It is a struggle for us to let our European brothers and sisters to understand that the differences of the color of our skin does not give them the right to treat us as less than humans. That in every dealing between the African and the European, between the African and the Caucasians, even as angry as we are for what they did to our forefathers, for taking us as slaves in chains into their own homeland to build it, where at the end of the day, they do not even want to let us stay in it. We still see them as fellow humans. No people in the world have suffered the blight of persecution as the Africans. And no people in the whole of West Africa have suffered the blight which the people of Ambazonia are going through. More than 100 of us are killed every day. Just imagine a population of 8.5 million. 100 people every day. Within a week is 700. Keeping aside those who die because of lack of medication. Those who die because of lack of food. Those who die because they are unable to withstand the monstrosity of the situation. What have we done to merit this? The answer is simple. That as long as we are here on earth, man's inhumanity to man will not be eliminated by sweet talk and charming smiles. Man's inhumanity to man will be eradicated when every man on earth realizes that we are what Mahatma Karamchand Gandhi called the Harijans, the children of God. And it is our duty to look up to him, accept the responsibility he has bestowed upon us, and go out there and save ourselves and save our fellow human. The weeks ahead are going to be very historic. I promised you a couple of days ago that something big is going to happen. This is not the time for me to release that information. For 34 years, I've given my life to this struggle, from the age of 14 to the age of 15 when I joined the African National Congress. This struggle, as long as I am alive, I will serve only you people, and I will serve only the spirit of our homeland. Individually, I will not be perfect, just like each one of you. But together we must do it. We must come together. Just of recent, we raised an enormous amount of money in Washington, D.C. But that was not good enough. It was not good enough because we need to up our game. We need to come up as one man. We must be positive in what we do. We should stop being too negative. In everything we do, let that positivism push us forward. Because it is only when we are positive that even our prayers can go to the hall of frankness, that our prayers can reach the bosom of the heavens. When you pray and you pray with doubt, then you are merely wasting your time. Your situation is even worse than someone who has never prayed before. You must stay focused. You must understand that we are humans and we are not perfect. Therefore, we keep searching the face of God. And let the imperfection of each one of us not become a contentious issue. As the Bible says, when you go and speak to them and they refuse to listen to you, dust your leg and move away to the next city. This is a parable which is very deep in meaning. And Christ was very, very careful in why he selected parables to speak to the people. It was very timely, so that he could give them the possibility to think about themselves and to think about the fellow man. You must be wise enough. Don't let anyone lead you into a pit. Open your mind. Don't just listen to me, Mbongo Moluta. Listen to your sixth and seventh senses and ask yourself what exactly is going on. For those who are fighting on ground zero, for those who have been wounded, we find difficulty to treat them. For those who at this moment have spent more than 24 hours without eating, they need you, they need me, they need we, they need us. It will not be by talking, it will be by acting. You can accumulate all the degrees you want on earth. You can accumulate all the wealth in the United States or Western Europe. Buy the expensive cars, build the mansions, even try to be students' residential houses at Moliko or Bambili. All of those things pale for your sacrifice for the cause of freedom. As I've often said, what happened to me is a typical example of what happened to an individual who gives everything for a cause that is just. To go to prison and come back and obtain a doctorate degree does not make me the most intelligent person on earth. It is just a symbolism that when you want to go for something, go for it fully. Don't do half measures. Don't play what we say in pidgin corner corner. I'm going to speak to you people about the issue of school resumption. And I'm also going to speak to you about the issue of county by county. But let me make this clear before that moment will come. We are not going to prosecute guerrilla warfare on the basis of county by county, on the basis of tribalism. That is not going to happen. We will not allow ourselves to create a difficult situation where it will become so difficult to disarm each one of us. We are not going to create tribal militias. It will never happen. Not in the Amazonia, which we have been fighting for all these years. And that is why I have said to my junior brothers who are in the social media that if you know the fear of guerrilla warfare is not an issue that you are good in, please shut your mouth and stay out of it. Do the other job of informing the people and encouraging them. Don't jump into an issue which you do not know because you can mislead our people. Let no individual carry out the issue of liberating our homeland county by county on the basis of tribe. That is not going to work. We will not, at this hour of our history, knowingly create a situation worse than that in South Sudan. We will liberate our homeland. We will stretch the enemy forces. We will stretch the colonialists. But we will not do it county by county. I have already cautioned the Red Dragons, and I want to repeat it. They are doing a marvelous job, but we should be very, very careful of turning a liberation struggle into a warlordism. A struggle where a particular self-defense group of a particular tribe in a particular county can tomorrow hold the entire nation of Amazonia ransom. That is not what we should create. That is why we have to be careful. Let us not just be controlled by emotion. Let us think and think carefully before we come out and speak to our people. Because the nature of our persecution has made our people so fragile, so weak, that some of them, they get their directions only from the social media. We have to be very, very careful. Because a militia tomorrow will tell you that the person they want, if it's not the prime minister, the minister of defense, the minister of finance, or the secretary of state of communication, they will not drop their arms. It will become a civil war after a liberation war. That is not going to happen. That, I repeat, is not going to happen. We will liberate our homeland. Finally, we have talked about the schools issue, which I said I'm going to come back to it on another day. But there is one thing we should understand. Education is so vital. Yes, we must let the youth go to school. Because we cannot produce an uneducated class. Who are those who will take over the realms of administration, the realms of control of that very country we want to be, if they are uneducated? The children need to go to school. But let me ask each one of you who is propagating for a return back to school. Do you send your kids to school when the bullets are flying? Which parent will the child ask for bread and you give them stone? That is what is written in the Bible. How many of you who are parents will let your son or daughter or your cousin or your aunt go to school when the bullets are flying? Do we not have any morality in us? Don't we have a morality? I stayed for 7 years without going to school. Today you call me Dr. Akwanga. I did not buy that degree. 7 years. I was fed with human feces and excrement, sexually molested, tortured on the balançoire, burned with plastic bags. I went through the worst blight any human being has ever experienced. Today you call me doctor. I wrote a thesis. Imagine what that torture did to me. 7 years out of 20. Yet, it did not corrupt my brain or my mind. We haven't even spent full 2 years, to sacrifice for our homeland, for the future of that homeland. And some of you are trying to pretend to be more parent than others. You want our children to go to school when we are planning to up this struggle, when there will be bullets all over flying. Are you planning to kill your children? If any father or mother wants to kill their child, why not give them to Famla? Give them to Famla and make money. How can you say we don't want them to go to school? No. What we are saying is that we don't want our children to go through an educational system that does not produce academicians. We don't want them to go to school when we have an educational system that teaches them only how to steal, that you must cheat to pass an exam. We don't want them to go to school with an academic system that at the end of the day, the 70 and the 80 years old, we continuously only inform them that they are the leaders of tomorrow. We want them to go to school when we have the opportunity to make sure that by the time they come out of that school, they will replace each one of us. That is what it takes. It is not that we don't want them to go to school. It is not that those of us who are out here want that they should not go to school back home so that our own children should come and lord it over them. No, that is not it. That is why we have said, when we will up the game as we're going to opt it, I doubt who is that father or mother or uncle or aunt who will take the risk to send their own child or daughter, son or daughter to school. When we begin taking territory, holding land under our control, and then we don't send the children to school in that particular area, then it is the right of parents to question why we haven't opened up the academic process for the children. Oh yes, when we seize a piece of land and that land actually becomes that Ambazonia, we will begin instituting the type of academic system that we want for that future country. At that time, we will send the children to school because we will have the possibility to protect them in that piece of land. And from there, we will gradually move in to liberate the entire land of the former British Southern Cameroons. Or, what type of school do you want the children to go to? What type of school? What type of school? The type of school where there are male teachers who exchange marks for sex with our daughters? Is that the type of educational system that you people are clamoring that we should send our children to? I will never come out and tell the children don't go to school. You know what I will do? I will up the game at ground zero. And when I up the game at ground zero, no father or mother will risk their child going to school. And that is what I expect of each one of us. Let them prepare to go to school while we prepare to up the game. And I can assure you that when we up the game, we will not declare through resolutions and social media that go back to school. Safety comes first and everyone will stay at home. So we shouldn't go out fighting those who want people to go back to school. We should be fighting to up our game, to arm our resistance. Sokadev, Tigers, ADF, Red Dragons, each one of them should be armed to the teeth. And when they go out there, they should go out with a blinded devotion for homeland. And when they do that, there is no individual who will take the risk to resume school. 7 years, I didn't go to school. I did not only suffer poisoning from the hands of Dorothy Lemunga Njoma, where I was bedridden for 8 months, that even the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon connived with the system to refuse me from becoming a pastor. I still did not give up hope. I came to the United States where members of the struggle insulted me that I just had only an advanced level and I can't lead them anywhere. And today you call me Dr. Akwanga. 7 years, not just out of school, at Kondenge maximum security prison. Can't you people see that and use that as an example? That it is not our children staying at home that is the issue. It is what we do with their staying at home. Our ability to let them know that they will not stay at home in vain, that we will sacrifice everything to make sure that their tomorrow will be far better than our today. Is that not what you and me are supposed to do? Are we doubting our capacity to change ourselves and change our way of life? We must up our game. Put in the resources. Put in the money. And we will do whatever it takes to free our homeland. As I told you before, I want to repeat it. The right to self-defense is non-negotiable. It is acceptable under international humanitarian law. We will fight till the last man is dead. When I left the United States and arrived where I am today, I received information that assassins have been sent behind me. Today I discussed with some of our brothers where I am, and they confirmed to me that yes, there are assassins around. Yet I did not turn back. I did not change my flight to go back to the United States to live in relative freedom. Because I am not free. There is nowhere which is free for me as long as my homeland is not free. As long as each one of you is not free, I cannot think about my own freedom. Because your freedom counts first than mine. We must be very, very careful. There is one thing we should all know. To have a mouth is one thing, but it does not give us the permission to say anything, anyhow, at any time. This is very important. It is very, very important. Those who are clamoring for schools to resume have made it very clear. In South Sudan, the areas that were conquered by the SPLA, the Sudan's People's Liberation Movement, schools were able to operate in that area. Can anyone show me a single piece of land under the control of us, Ambazonians? Can anyone show me? Can anyone truly say that we Ambazonians control Lebialem? Then I'm going to send that person for treatment at Bombay, where they will meet psychiatric doctors. We do not control a single piece of our land because we have not allowed the experts to prosecute this war the way it is supposed to be done. And that is what we are going to do now, henceforth. As one people, we will move forward. This is the hour. Do not get mixed up. Stay focused. Look ahead. And I can assure you that some of us might not see that day of freedom. But that day is coming and will come and must come. It will come not because of the words I say herein today. It will come because of the sacrifices that each one of us imbued into this struggle. Let every criticism and opposition to this struggle fit you to become more stronger. Stay focused. Do not develop the attitude of watching everyone who goes online to speak. It will get you confused. If you have a particular individual that you believe in that principle, watch them and shun your ears from every other thing. We can't stop the social media. That is what is bad with our own liberation struggle. But there is one thing we can stop. Our inability to pay lip service to the liberation struggle. Stay focused and put in everything that you have in this struggle. For there is no place as sweet as home. I'll be waiting on you to join me at 9 p.m. South African time. Today, live over SCBC but Life Over 702, South Africa and Southern Africa's #1 radio network. And on Thursday, you will be with me live on a historic interview. But be on the lookout for something very, very serious, something historic, something so vital is about to happen for this struggle. I do not just speak anyhow. When I tell you something is going to happen, something is coming. Thank you all for watching. Permit me excuse myself to go prepare for tonight's discussion over 702. I wait to see each one of you there. And once more, thank you all who participated in the Washington Initiative. Thanks to all the frontline leaders and those who were leading from behind, those who were doing the nitty-gritty, those who were able to prepare the groundwork. Like what I heard of the great work that Eric Tato did in the fundraising. I thank each one of you. But I'm asking each one of you to up that money to $100,000 within the next 72 hours. You contribute to Yanjangi, you contribute to your ex-students association, you still contribute to your tribal organizations. But all of these are subsets to the homeland called Ambazonia. So when you put in, this is a bank of investment that you might not reap it, but generations upon generations will be able to reap the fruits of your labor. Do that, and you see changes, not just in your life, in the life of everyone around you. I wait to talk to you again. Have a wonderful day, and may God bless each one of you. I'll leave you with a song that we listened to a couple of minutes ago. It is good for each one of us. May God bless you. See you very soon.